Thank you all for coming today. I would like to introduce to you Chief Willie Sellers of the Williams Lake Indian Band, who is going to be here today. And thank you, Chief, for welcoming us here.
First of all, up. Gukbi Willie Sellers on Squest, Kakal Sukwabmulu. Hello, my name is Chief Willie Sellers with the Williams Lake First Nation. I'd like to welcome you to the traditional territory of WLFN and the Sequep Nation. We have some good speakers today. The campaign that we're going to be talking about, the initiatives around hunting of the cow moose, is something that we support wholeheartedly and fully at the Williams Lake First Nation. We have a billboard in our traditional territory, and we're always giving Dan praise and his wife praise for what they're doing out of the goodness of their hearts for this region to save the moose populations for future generations. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. We know that it's a very delicate topic of discussion, especially around election time when we're talking about hunting. It's people's livelihood. But in order for my son, my daughter, my future generations, not only my family, but my community, to have the ability to hunt moose, we need to start taking sacrifices now and holding the politicians to task in enforcing those precautions when it comes to the moose. And that's what we're here to talk about today, and that's what we're here supporting today. And I'd like to welcome everybody and thank everybody for showing up, for supporting such an awesome initiative.
Thank you, Willie. And I would like to thank Willie. He's been a very strong advocate of the region and a very strong supporter of saving our moose. So thank you to Chief Willie and his band. I would like to introduce Chief Fred Robbins of the Eskedum Alkali, and he's going to do an honor song. Chief?
Can I ask everybody to come kind of form a circle here? The song I'm about to sing is the grizzly bear song. And it's a song that we sing for strength so that we can support in any way we can.
Thank you, Chief.
It's part of our culture and our traditions. It's our history from our ancestors for the past 10 generations to survive off the land, to look after the land. And with UNDRIP coming into force, First Nations are now going to have a role in management. And I just want to thank you for the work that you do in supporting the First Nations, and the First Nations support the work that you do. On behalf of the Eskedem community, all of our hunters, gatherers, I offer this gift for the work that you do, to continue to do the work that you do, to protect wildlife. So I just want to thank you and offer you this gift. When we start to look at the history of First Nations people across the province of BC, we are a resilient people. We have survived time and time again, and we are still here today. We plant our feet firmly now because it's our history that's in jeopardy, our lifestyles of who we are. And when we protect the moose, when we protect the deer, when we protect the cougars and the bears and the fish, it's not for our benefit, it's for the next generation. So that that next generation can continue to live off the land as we did, to survive as we did, to be resilient as we did. And I support you in the work that you do because you're supporting the resilience of survival. So I thank you for that. Now I want to thank Willie for the warm welcome. Sequepum neighbors, and I support this. I've sent letters. I've been working with Kate Hewitt of NSDQ, given direction about how we should go about protecting the moose. We need to manage ourselves first. Check your ego at the door. Wildlife is not something that's easy to manage. And we have to do it together. We can't do it alone. If you're going to go at this alone, and you have no support, it's not going to happen. And I stand with you. I support you in the work that you do. Koksham.
Thank you, Chief. And now I'd like to introduce to you Dan Simmons and his wife. And of course, we all know that Dan started this sign project 5 years ago, was it? Almost 6 years ago. And I had the fortune of working with him and getting a little bit of money out of our government to help him move along his way. And he's done an amazing job. And he's had so much support, but it is very tiring. So I'm going to ask Dan to come and say a few words about his project and what we are trying to help him accomplish here today. Dan?
Thank you. This isn't something I do very often, actually never. But first off, I want to thank Chief Willie Sellers and Fred Robbins for coming and sharing this with us. We're all in this together, we know that, and I appreciate everything that the First Nations have done for our project. And we do need to work together, and if you can see what's happening here today, we are working together. The people in Cariboo, Chilcotin, and in our province, the rural, knowledgeable people in our province are coming together and starting to listen and to listen to, well, there's some of them aren't listening, but the vast majority of them are, like you people that are here today. And our project has been a long, hard battle, I'll say that, but we don't quit, and we're in this to try to pull something off that's never been pulled off. It's very slim, but I think we're going to do it. And the one thing we have to do is just stay with it, stay with the program, because like Fred said and Willie said, and we all say, every one of us here, our wildlife is very important. They're not something we should take for granted. We all.
They're in trouble. Our wildlife is in trouble.
We all know they're in trouble. There's a whole bunch of different reasons, but our main thing right from the start, and this message, this is directed totally at our minister, Doug Donaldson and John Horgan. You have to start listening to every person. And if you read these little homemade signs that we have here, we've been out on the highway trying to get a message to you that there is actually people up here past Chilliwack, in the Amanika, the Cariboo, Chilcotin, the Skeena, the Peace, the Thompson Nicola, the Kootenays, and the Okanagan, who did I miss, that actually know a lot more about wildlife than you think. And we have a lot of problems, and the worst thing we can be doing right now is harvesting, shooting, culling cow moose and calves, because they are not the problem. There's other problems that have to be solved. I've never in my life seen a moose eat a caribou, and I think it's time that you sat down and talked to people right here. There's every person here knows a lot of stuff about wildlife, and they're not listening. First Nations are supposed to be consulted. They are not. Guide outfitters are not. The resident hunters are not. The Cattlemen's Association is not. Brian England is not. Rick Hamill is not. Nobody, they're not listening to us. And it's time, and we want an end to this cow and calf hunt. It's been going on too long. The only way that can be any chance to have our population back recovering is to stop this. They also have, on top of the 400 LEH tags that are going to be hunters going by here on the 1st of October, there's an open season for calf moose only in our new regulations. It's for calf moose, October 1st to October 25th. These little calves are 4 months old. And if the hunters that are out there, I'm going to say something right now. If there's a hunter out there that's got his moose tag, you should have just bought half of one, because it's a young moose, and there's a good chance he's probably still got some milk on his face. So stop it. It's nonsense. We need to get our population back, and that's one way to do it. Thank you, everybody, for coming and showing up. And we're not done yet.
Next, I would like to ask Jade Duranglu from the McLeod Lake Indian Band to come and say a few words. Jade?
I'm the youth counselor for McLeod Lake Indian Band. I'm going on my 4th year in council, and for about 4 years I've been trying to raise awareness about this issue. And I'm also the BCFN youth rep for the BC Assembly of First Nations. So up in our territory, we have about a quarter of the allotted amount of moose for cow and calf up in the Parsnip area. That's actually in my family's trap line, my Chingy family trap line. So it's very concerning. There is the Kennedy sighting caribou herd there, and a lot of the reasoning and scientific facts that they're using is that they're doing this to protect caribou. And based on our culture and traditions, we think this is going to do the opposite. It's going to have a huge impact on ungulates, caribou, and moose. And I also just wanted to recognize the Teltan and what they're doing in their territory. They're actually encouraging their members to hunt wolves and to hunt bears, and we agree with this, and I think that First Nations should follow suit. I think in McLeod Lake we're going to do the same and encourage our members. And just recently, because of COVID, I've been actually spending a lot of time in the back roads and doing some hunting ourselves, but the amount of bears we've seen is outstanding. And I also live in the heart of Prince George, the northern part, and there's bears everywhere, like constantly getting into our garbage. So there's an overabundance of bears. There's an overabundance of wolves. I think they can take different measures other than hunting cow and calf moose to protect ungulates. So they've made the wrong decision. First Nations have voiced their concerns. They need to listen. And the spirit of UNDRIP, this doesn't follow the spirit of UNDRIP. A true government to government relationship, or even the fact that they're wanting to co-manage wildlife together with Indigenous governments. So representing McLeod Lake, we totally oppose this. And I just want to encourage youth during the times of COVID, go to where there's more trees than people, get out onto the land, get hunting, hunt bear, hunt wolves, hunt bull moose, So, I just want to raise awareness again about this cow and calf cull that's coming up. It's very wrong. And I just want to say thank you to Dan and Vivian Simmons for their project of the cow, calf, moose sign. It's raising awareness. They're doing a great job. And thank you to all for coming and speaking up for the moose. Thank you, everyone.
Next, I would like to ask Luke Dockstead from the Chilcotin National Government. Luke?
I've been honest, everyone. So my name is Luke Dockstead. I'm the Stewardship Department Manager for T&G. From our perspective, we support the efforts. We've been a part of the Cow Moose Sign Project for many years, pretty much since its inception. All of our communities have the signs up within their territories. And when we first got the referral in about what the province want to do, we brought it to our leadership. There was a lot of questions, a lot of anger and whatnot, and we, like I said, we support the efforts that are happening. It's unfortunate, like we have the nation law about no hunting a cow moose, and that's been in place for a few years now. All the efforts of the MOUs with the COs that some of our communities have to for not harvesting cows and calves kind of thing. So the efforts are being put forward by the nation and by the communities, and then for the province to go and use alternative prey methods to save caribou, it's not right. And we're fortunate, that there are no LEHs for cows within our territory, but we're sure, indications are that they are going to try in a couple years, to save the remaining caribou we have left. So I just want to say hats off. We're in support of every year's are doing. So thank you very much.
My colleague, John Rustad.
Thanks, Donna, and I want to start by thank you for the welcome, and thank you for the drumming song. Thanks for starting this off in such a good way, and to Dan and Vivian, the work that you guys are doing here. It's a shame that it has to be done. I wish that when we were in government, we had listened and put an end to this nonsense years ago. Because I can tell you, when I think about what we're doing here with the cow-calf hunt, with the rationale is to save the caribou, there is no solid science behind this whatsoever. The science is, if you reduce the predator population, and then if you reduce the prey population, it'll be longer for the predators to come back. The issue is the predators. It is not the cow and the calf. This needs to change. We've got, across this province, we have seen the moose populations drop dramatically. They dropped when we were in power. They're dropping still under the current government. This needs to change. We actually have to start thinking about how do we start recovering our moose populations. First Nations, it's such a critical part of their culture and for their people to have a healthy wildlife population. For the hunters, I'm sure any hunter would not want to have to go out with a tag to take a cow and a calf, but what option do they have? They've got to put food on their table too. And for the guides, it's critical that we have a healthy population here in the province. We need to change our method. We have to be focused on recovery. We have to be focused on protecting the cow and the calf, because that is the future of being able to grow a healthy ungulated population, and then deal with the issues that need to be dealt with. Take the political heat and just deal with it. If you've got a problem with predators, deal with it, so that you can have the recovery of both caribou and moose at the same time. They don't compete with one another. It's okay to have healthy populations of both. And so to Dan and to Vivian, you guys are doing the right thing. You are on the right side of this. We need to make this work. We need to bring this to an end so that we can try to have these policies come forward for recovery. So thank you once again for the work, and to the First Nations that have had the courage to stand up and say this is the right thing to do. I know many of your members, need the moose, need the healthy populations. They'd like to be able to get out. I remember when I was when I was a little kid, my dad told me once a story. We used to have a little sawmill up in Bear Lake, and the best faller that he had was from the Cloud Lake Band, and he'd go in the fall and he'd pick him up, and he would come out and work in the winter. And one fall he picked the fellow up and brought him out to the camp, and this faller was telling him, he said the moose population had crashed in the area, and the people were going hungry. They weren't able to access moose. And so at the time, the Ministry of Environment went in and dealt with the predators that were in the area, and within 3 to 4 years, there was an overabundant supply of moose come back into the area. It can recover that quickly if we have the courage to do the right thing and make sure that they have a chance to be able to recover. So thank you all for being able to come out today and adding your voice to this issue. It needs to be raised. It's not, I talk about the government, it's not a political issue. This is just the right thing to do. And I think people on all sides of the political spectrum should stand up and have the courage to say it's the right thing to do to end the hunt for the cow-calf until we can get our ungulated population recovered. So thanks for spearheading this and the work that you've been doing over the years. Thank you for the First Nations standing up, and thank all of you for being able to come out from here. And I just wanted to ask one last word. Donna has been a passionate advocate for this for years. She bent my ear for I don't know how long. She's finally converted me on the right side. But I also know that Lauren Dirksen is passionate about this as well, and I hope you get the opportunity to carry the torch and fight for what's right for this riding. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words here today.
Thanks, John. Now I'd like to call on Dave Brace, who is here representing the BC Cattlemen's Association. Cariboo Cattlemen's. Well, he in my eyes, he's tall enough, strong enough, and cares about the animals enough. He can be BC Cattlemen's Association.
Thanks, Donna, and thanks everyone for inviting me here. Dan, you're doing a wonderful job, and on behalf of Cariboo Cattlemen's, who asked me to be here, our support comes from the idea that if they're going to kill cows and calves, moose, the government's forgotten that there's other food things out there, and beef cattle are one of them. And we're already losing a lot of beef cattle to predators. Let's deal with the predator issue, and then let's deal with the rest of the thing. All ungulates, all ranchers, we're all hurting in this province from lack of wildlife management as a whole. Let's do it. And maybe in my grandson's lifetime, he'll be able to see 40 moose in a day rather than 1 in a year. Thanks again.
And Jenny Philbrick, I believe you're from the Chilcotin? Yes, and you're the executive director, right? I got it right.
Perfect. Thank you. I just wanted to come today to show my support that we at the Chilcotin National Government and the communities, we do not support the cow and calf moose call, and that we stand behind the nations that are here today. And I also want to thank you guys for the drum song and for the welcoming. But yeah, I just want to let everyone know that we support you guys and the work that you guys are doing. Any way we can help, we are here. So, and I just want to thank everyone for coming out. As stewards of the land, this is our job to be protecting the moose, and that's what we plan on doing. We want to make sure that there are moose for our future generations, the 7 generations to come. So thank you again. Thank you for all of the work, and we support you. And yeah, so we're...
Next, I would like to ask Stuart Fraser, who is the president of the Guide Outfitters of the Cariboo Chilcotin.
Thanks, Donna. Thanks, Dan. Wonderful work. Been working hard. I know it's taxing on you. Thank you for First Nations for coming out. Guide Outfitters have been in the country for a long time. And we have a vested interest in healthy wildlife populations, not just moose, but all wildlife populations. Just recently, a number of the Guide Outfitters and the Cariboo lost their moose quota entirely. Gone. Guys that have been generations, 3-4 generations of families that have hunted moose, they're done. And we need healthy moose populations. A lot of you aren't aware of it, but the Minister Donaldson just appointed a new Wildlife Advisory Council. And there's some very, very good people on that council. There's lots of First Nations representation. There's lots of government biologists. There's lots of government bureaucrats and government officials on this advisory council. There isn't a resident hunter association on this council, and the Guide Outfitters Association weren't even asked to be on this council. The two of the three main user groups of our wildlife is not on this council to provide any experience or expertise on wildlife in this province. It's a kick in the nuts to all of us, and we need to be put on this council. I hope he changes his mind. Moose are in trouble. Caribou are in trouble. First Nations are in trouble. Resident hunters are in trouble, and guide outfitters are in trouble. And we need big change. And a lot of it comes from habitat. Moose habitat's been destroyed in the Cariboo, Chilcotin, and most of British Columbia. Habitat lost, predators take over, ungulates decline. It's pretty simple. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a few guide outfitters here that are basically suffering because of the lack of moose. It is their livelihood, how they feed their families, just as First Nations feed their families with the moose, just as hunters feed their families with the moose. So we have a lot of work to do. Hopefully what Dan has done is enough to convince the government to change their mind and change their philosophies, but we will see. Lauren Dirksen?
Thank you, Donna. Hey, I've been following Donna around too, and I agree. And applause for Donna. She's done an incredible job. And I won't say her age here tonight, but if you want to try to keep up with her, come with me this weekend. It's amazing. So thank you very much, Donna. Dan and Viv, thank you so much. I mean, I think you are bashful when it comes to the amount of commitment that these folks have made. It's my understanding that there has been, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, about $160,000 of funding that has come from all of us. And so if there is one thing that the government has achieved here, is it's bringing all walks of life together to go against them. Because there are guide outfitters here, ranchers here. It's the transparency and the science that makes no sense to me. We were promised, absolutely promised, that this would be transparent and open so that we could all participate in it. I think, if I recall, and I might be wrong on this, but we've had one public meeting, and I believe at the end of that public meeting, it went behind doors. And so I really encourage everyone to keep the drive alive on this program. I mean, we're looking at October 1st or 5th. This is an opportunity for you to send your clear messages, please, to Doug Donaldson, who, by the way, is not going to be with us next time, and Mr. John Horgan. So those email addresses and those cell phone numbers, I'm sure, are still live. Would you please join me in reaching out to them and trying to get this thing stopped before October 1st? The other thing is it's going to create a lot of confusion. I know that there will be protests in the North Country where it will open first, and I know that there will be arguments and disputes between hunters that are actually trying to hunt legally of bull moose and those types of things that will cross paths with us trying to protect the cows and calves. And finally, I agree with the earlier comments about the idea to starve wolves by killing cow moose. They're not going to starve. I was in the Chilcotin this weekend speaking with ranchers and guide outfitters. The fact is they're going to eat cows. The wolves are not going to starve. The predators are the problem, and our government is the problem. Right now, you need to convey this to them. It's a privilege to be here speaking on the lands of the Williams Lake First Nation. Thank you for the song, Chief Robbins. Keep the drive alive, you guys.
I'd also like to recognize the Cariboo Chilcotin Tourist Association is here with many of their staff. Their CEO, Amy Thatcher. Hunting, guide outfitting, wildlife is all a part of the Cariboo Chilcotin and a great part of tourism. When you think the dollars and cents that hunters, guide outfitters bring into this region to support families, to support gas stations, stores, It's gone right now. And that's tough, very tough on your families. The airplane used to fly them in here. We no longer have that many airplanes, not just because of COVID, but because every time there is something taken away from our region, we lose people, we lose dollars, we lose families. So to each and every one of you, keep supporting Dan and Vivian. He has been an amazing, both of them, advocate for this. They have not given up for 2 minutes. And if you haven't had a chance, take a look at the mural downtown that is being put up. It is gorgeous. If you got a few dollars in your pocket to support them, to pay for the mural, I know there's some place around here you can drop it. But please keep those cards and letters and emails and everything else you can do going for as long as we can, because this is our last chance to stop this hunt. So thank you all very much. Dan, did you want to say something else?
So I'm just going to once again thank everybody. Vivian and I both thank everybody. I know I haven't, just everybody that's here. And I want to thank just so you know, there's about 49 of us here because of COVID. We wanted to have the other 6,000 people that signed our petition that was on change.org for about a month. It mysteriously has vanished. So there's another 6,000 people out there that actually are voters of British Columbia. Their vote is gone, their signatures, and there's another, just thousands of people have supported this project. We've been on this project on November 14th, November 7th of this month, this year. It'll be our 6th year. And we've had hundreds and thousands of people support this. I went around, both of us went around, and it wasn't an easy thing to do. Go around to knock on somebody's door and ask for, $50 to buy a brochure or a sign. Today, these little signs that you see out here, there's 1,000 of them out there. And these 4x8 signs on the other side of this sign, the sign that says, please respect the cow moose, there's 117 of them. And we have 3 billboards, all 3 of them on First Nations land. The First Nations donated the billboards and the structure. Willie Sellers and the Williams Lake First Nations were the first. Bonaparte First Nations this spring, we put 2 up this year, by the way, and another one at Soda Creek. The billboard structures were donated by the First Nations, and the rent and the money for the $2,800 or whatever for the sign was donated by you folks right here, the people that I went around. And I know who they are, you know who they are. Hundreds and hundreds of people have helped this out. I'm talking too much. I get it. Anyway, we're here. One other thing, just like Jay said, this is for the future. This is, we got to do something, right? Right, Fred? Right, Willie? And Rick? And we got to work together, and we are working together. Stuart Fraser, all these guys, we got to work together and save something for our kids. And these moose, these cows and calves, are the last thing that are to blame. And if they pull this hunt off, they should be damn well ashamed of themselves. And I tell you what, everybody here will be ashamed of them, and I'm going to be one that is. And I asked John Horgan to come out of his bubble and address this by Friday. That's my goal. Come out and talk. Because there's people up here beyond Chilliwack that actually care about our wildlife. And we actually know. We actually all want moose, deer. We want the bears. We want the grizzlies. We want the wolves. But we want a working balance. We need people in place to look after this. And right now, there's a whole big mess, and it's out of hand. And they have to stop it and do their job and get out of their bubble and address it by Friday. Thank you.
Well, Dan, you got lots of support, I'm sure, all across the province of British Columbia. And so we can't give up. Even if we don't get this reversed now, it'll give us more ammunition to keep fighting for this. We really appreciate the support that we all have here today. as we said, you know, we're all in this together. None of us stand alone. And until we learn to stand together on all our fronts, all our land use issues, nothing will get better. So I ask each and every one of us today to work together, to stay together, and continue not just this fight, but all issues that we have to resolve together. Thank you to everybody once again. Safe travels home, and remember, save the moose. Thank you.